I said, you're the one who told me not to take the deal. You're the one who said they have a shit case and they know it's shit and we're going to trial. And then the second lawyer, Bob Trout, who is just an awesome human being. All four of these guys, amazing human beings. I refer business to them constantly. So
yeah, they could cut the bill a little bit.
I know.
Huh?
Well, no, they did. They forgave it.
Okay, that's good.
They're great guys. So Bob Trout is sort of an elegant Southern gentleman. And he says, John, my aunt died. I got arrested on a Tuesday. My aunt died on the previous Tuesday. And on Friday was the funeral. It was in Ohio. So I got in the car, drove to Ohio, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to my grandparents' old house. So my grandparents lived in this neighborhood that it's really like not good. It's not safe. So it's in the hood. I drove up and I just parked in front of it. There was a car behind me and I parked and I pulled over and stopped. And the guy's like behind me. So I rolled down my window and I went like this, like go around me. And he's just like waiting there. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this? So I go up to the intersection and I make a really broad illegal U-turn in the intersection. And he does too. I'm like, okay, I'm under surveillance. In Warren, Ohio, of all places. So I thought, this is weird. It's probably my first wife because we're going to court soon on some custody issue. And she's probably hired some PI to see what I'm doing.
This is the Friday before the Tuesday that you're going to be arrested.
Correct. So I drive to the cemetery. I'm going to go visit my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. I got a cousin there. He follows me into the cemetery. So I park. He parks kind of, 40 feet away. So I start walking over to the car to say, what the fuck? And he takes off. So I called my wife and I said, this is going to sound like I'm nuts, but I'm under surveillance. She's like, what? And I told her the whole thing.
She's still in CIA.
Yeah. To make a long story short, they thought, we learned in Discovery, they thought someone had tipped me off and I was running to Canada. I got on the highway with no word to anybody with a suitcase and I hit the Pennsylvania Turnpike and I'm going toward Canada. So they had guys from the Cleveland field office and the Cincinnati field office and the Pittsburgh field office, and they're all converging on Warren, Ohio, because rather than go to my aunt's funeral, they think I'm running to Canada.
Oh, my
Fucking
God.
morons.
Jesus. So then you get the doors kicked in and your wife's supportive.
Yeah, very.
Wasn't she later not, though?
I am not able to talk about that due to pending litigation.
Okay. We'll leave that one there. So throughout 2012, you're getting all this discovery. You're meeting with your legal team.
Yeah.
You said, as you explained, they stack charges and everything.
Yeah.
You're like, you're going to beat these motherfuckers. But eventually, 2 of the charges or something you plea to late in the year. One.
They charged me with making a false statement, and we were never really clear as to what the false statement was supposed to be, and they ended up dropping that too. So I got this one charge that's hanging over me. And in the beginning, the government, when they first arrested me, we had a proffer meeting, and they said, take a plea to an espionage charge, you do 45 years. And I said, I am not doing 45 minutes. And this fucking bitch, who is now like the deputy attorney general for a criminal division, she says to me, take the plea and you might live to meet your grandchildren, Mr. Kiriakou. Yeah, nice. So 45, I ignored them. And then like 6 months later, they said, all right, take a plea to an espionage charge. And he does 10. And I'm like, I didn't commit espionage. Having lunch with the New York Times is not espionage.
That's right.
So that was on a Monday. On Wednesday, they came back 8 years. I said, forget it. They said on Friday, 5 years. And my lead lawyer was Plato Kacharis, absolutely legendary figure in white-collar defense in Washington. He represented the most important people of the second half of the 20th century, including attorneys general, President Nixon, Monica Lewinsky.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
He probably cost a pretty penny.
tell me about it. I still owe him. He's dead. I still owe him $1.1 million.
I won't collect for him. Don't worry.
So he said to me, I've been a lawyer here for 52 years, and this is the first time I've ever seen them come down in time. He said, usually they'll offer you 10, and if you say no, the next offer's 15, then the next offer's 20. I said, why are they coming down in time? He said, there's no case here. And I said, okay, I'll take that. Then they come back in October of 2012 and they offer 3.5. 3.5 from 45 is a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not going to take it. Somebody's got to stand up to these people. So then they came back and they said, best and final offer, 2.5, you do 23 months. I have 24 hours to make a decision. So that night, my wife and I stayed up all night long. And I was the first person that's ever been charged with this crime, other than a spy, an actual spy, who was charged when it was first written. And I have a letter from the guy who wrote the law saying I should never have been charged, and my congressman says I never should have been charged, and I got a page full of judges who say I should never have been charged. So I decided I'm going to fight this thing. This law is unconstitutional. I'm going to fight it. So at 6 a.m., I emailed the lawyers. There were 11 of them.
11.
Yeah. And I said, been up all night, did all the research. I'm going to trial. So one of them emails me back and he says, put on a pot of coffee. We're on our way over. So 3 of them, the four senior most lawyers came over to the house. And Plato, who's been a lawyer for 52 years, and his brother is the chief judge in the court that's prosecuting me. He said, his exact words, "You stupid son of a bitch, take the deal." I said, "You're the one who told me not to take the deal. You're the one who said they have a shit case and they know it's shit and we're going to trial." And then the second lawyer, Bob Trout, who is just an awesome human being. All 4 of these guys, amazing human beings. I refer business to them constantly. So
yeah, they could cut the fucking bill a little
I
bit.
know.
Huh?
Well, no, they did. They forgave it.
Okay, that's good.
They're great guys. So Bob Trout is sort of an elegant Southern gentleman. And he says, "John, if you were my own brother, I would beg you to take the deal." And then the attorney who I actually liked and connected with the most, Mark McDougall, who was the chief of white-collar defense at Aiken, Gump & Strauss, the 4th largest law firm on the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
He says to me, got right in my face, and he says, "You know what your problem is? Your problem is you think this is about justice, and it's not about justice. It's about mitigating damage. Take the deal." And I said, if I don't take the deal and I'm convicted, what am I realistically looking at? And he said 12 to 18 years. I got 5 kids at home. So, and then I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking and thinking. I'm standing there. And Mark says, this can be a blip in your life, or it can be the defining event of your life. Make it the blip.
Great sale.
And so I took the deal.
Did you feel you took the deal for those reasons and also for your family, as you lay out, and that's the most important thing. But as a person who knew you didn't do anything wrong and believed that the United States is supposed to be the shining beacon on a hill, did that shatter some of your understanding of, or what you thought your understanding of what this country was about?
Well, to me, the Constitution is the Constitution. The Constitution didn't change with what happened to me. But I realized, what ugly hardball politics looks like. In my views, those people who trumped up these charges, who testified against me before the grand jury, the likes of Jose Rodriguez, for example, and a whole host of others.
Oh, they testified
Oh,
against
sure.
you.
Yeah, sure. There's
know
a laundry list. Oh, yeah. You don't get the transcript of the testimony, but you get the list of names. these guys are going to go down in history as the monsters that they were in real life. And I say this all the time.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You're good. Go ahead.
I say this all the time. One of the reasons why these guys continue to double down and triple down on things like the torture program or on the John Kiriakou situation is that when they die, torture is going to be the centerpiece of their obituaries. And they need to try to salvage what's left of their legacies. But the truth is, they're on the wrong side of history, right? I'm on the right side. I'm confident of that. And so I'm proud of what I did. I wear it on my sleeve. I have nothing to be ashamed of. You know, there's this joke that everybody in prison's innocent. You'd be surprised, actually.
It's a bigger number than you think.
Oh, boy, is it. We have 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prison population.
Yeah, my friend Raj Rajaratnam, who was in here, who's a billionaire, who had a wild story of being attacked in the Southern District of New York. And as a billionaire, he's not the guy that you would think is like the sympathetic figure, but when you really go through the story, it's pretty crazy what they did to him. And I reviewed it inside and out, and I believe him, and I agree with him. But, you know, he talked about when he was in there, you know, this is one of the top 5 investors to ever live. He's a very smart guy. I think he said it's something like 25% of people in prison are at least partially innocent.
Absolutely.
And 10% are completely innocent.
Absolutely.
And he said a lot of that 25, almost all that 25% is they were railed by the system and forced to take a shit deal, or they had horrible representation.
Which is
got
very
convicted.
common.
Yes.
You know, there are 2 strategies that the Justice Department uses. One I mentioned a second ago. It's called charge stacking. So they'll charge you with 5, 10, 20 felonies. They'll wait until you go bankrupt.
Yep.
And then they'll come back and say, we'll drop all the charges but one if you take a guilty plea.
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, you risk dying in prison.
But you still get a felony on your record. You still got to give
Tell
up
me
your
about
freedom.
I lost my freedom. I lost my right to vote. And I lost my federal pension. And I lost the right to own a gun. So the governor of Virginia, I didn't even apply for a state pardon. The governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, pardoned me on his own volition. I got this big certificate in the mail one day. We were back in the new house, so 2016.
Good for
Fall
him.
of 2016. I sent him a letter thanking him. Like it just came, a courier brought it, this big certificate with a gold seal and the governor's signature. It says pardon at the top.
But you had federal charges, so is that just symbolic?
It was symbolic. So it gave me my right to vote.
That's cool.
And it gave me my state right to own a gun. But I don't dare because there's a federal mandatory minimum of 8 years, felon with a gun. So I never, I got to get a federal pardon for that, presidential pardon.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you go and there's some stuff you can't talk about it from after, but you go, you do this, and now here you are. Like, it's getting late. We had a long story today with you in the train and then coming up here, so I appreciate you.
My own fault.
The whole
for being late.
All good. But we've been talking for so long. I don't want to keep you here too much longer. So I think another time we can talk about, what happened in prison and all that, and then really get into what you've done afterwards. Because now, you're a guy, you got a Substack. You are using all the skills you've used from your career to provide analysis to people, in addition to helping out with some of your own interests here as far as, criminal justice reform and reforming some of the bureaucracy and things like that.
People joke. My ex, now my ex-wife, but she used to joke that if they thought they were going to silence you, man, they didn't know you at all.
Yeah, that's clear.
They've made me famous.
Yeah.
You know Roger Waters from Pink Floyd?
Do I know Roger? Come on.
Roger paid off my second mortgage.
Really?
When I got arrested. To save my house for my wife and kids.
Oh, that's amazing.
I had never met Roger Waters. And he followed my case and he's like, somebody's got to help this guy. And he paid off my second mortgage.
That's pretty cool.
Roseanne Barr sent me $5,000 to give to my lawyers. Yoko Ono, another one, would call me. Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? You're not going to do anything crazy, right? Seriously.
Wow.
You'd be surprised.
You've turned a lot of lemons into lemonade with this for sure.
Yeah, I've embraced it. Again, I gotta credit my ex-wife. You know, in the days after my arrest, I was like actively considering doing something terrible to myself. And she said, "Listen, they have consistently underestimated your strength. Consistently. You're far tougher than they think you are." And she said, "They're going to change their focus to someone else," which they did. It was Ed Snowden. And she said, "You have to embrace this and you have to keep talking about it because your side of the story is going to become the side of record." And she was exactly right.
That's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've done a great job of that, and you got to keep doing it.
Thank you.
You know, and I hope you get an opportunity
my
to
life.
go on some other huge podcasts.
I look forward to that. Yeah, thank you for this.
Of
this
course,
was fun.
Of course. We're gonna have to do a lot more because, you know, I've loved your podcast with Danny where you're just breaking down all the issues and everything because you know so much about this stuff.
Love it.
So you're right down the road in DC.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely do that, but we're gonna have your Substack link in there.
Thank
we'll
you.
also have the link to some of your books and then anything else
I've got
you
a
want.
TV show now that people might be interested in.
What's the TV show?
It's called CIA Declassified. It is, we look at declassified CIA documents and we use those documents to tell stories about historic events. And
What's that on?
It's on Unified television. It's online, and we'll put a little QR code so you can see it.
Love it. All right, John, thank you so much, man.
Thank
We'll get
you.
you back home, and we'll do this again sometime.
Looking forward to it.
All right,
Thanks.
everybody else, you know what it is. Give it a thought. Get back to me. Peace. Thank you guys for watching the episode. Before you leave, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. It's a huge help. And also, if you're over on Instagram, be sure to follow the show at Julian Dorey Podcast or also on my personal page at Julian D. Dorey. Both links are in the description below. Finally, if you'd like to catch up on our latest episodes, use the Julian Dorey Podcast playlist link in the description below. Thank you. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here